Hi, this is Will Moss, and you're listening to Across the Bifrost.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am your host, Ryan Dozen. For today's issue review of Immortal Thor number 5, we have assembled our own Thor Corps of amazing Thor-related fans, and then we get to interview a very special guest on the episode today. But I will introduce to my Thor Corps for today. Faz is here. Faz, which member of the Thor Corps would you take? Would you call dibs on?
Oh man.
I have a
Um,
gut feeling I know who you would pick.
am am I allowed to take the man himself? Because if not, then I'll pick somebody else.
You
Is
know
it one of the
what?
extra ones? No.
You are the resident Thor cosplayer on the show, so I feel like that is your right that you get first
But so
dibs on that.
I think first dibs I'd take him, but just because Will's not here, Will Rose, I will take as my backup Beta Ray Bill so that someone's
Yeah,
supporting our
that
man, our
yeah,
horse-headed legend, you know?
that
But if
feels
it's up to
appropriate.
me, I'll take the mighty guy who's deciding who's worthy right now, if that's
Yeah,
allowed.
for real. And then our friend Alex is back to review another new issue of Thor. There is a very specific reason I asked Alex to review this issue with us, and that will make itself very apparent towards the end of the review. But Alex, welcome back to Across the Bifrost. And is there a member of the Thor Corps that you would choose to adopt for this review today?
Thank you for having me, first off. Thank you for having me back. I mean, I feel like it's obvious who I'm gonna pick for this Thor Corps.
Yeah,
I gotta go with Loki. I gotta go with my
yeah.
second in command here.
Yeah, I mean, and Loki gets an amazing glow up with this Thor inspired suit that he gets. Like it's equal parts his suit, like with the kind of the old school touches, but then the new school, like, oh yeah, it's clearly a Thor suit.
Really,
Yeah.
all comic run, he's looked really good, right? There's been 3 or 4
Mhm.
really nice costumes so far.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Martin continues to kill it. Personally, like Jane's my girl, so I'm gonna go with Jane. If I can't have Thor, can't have Beta Ray Bill, I gotta go with Jane. I think I think that leaves our special guest with a great choice. But we'll introduce him real quick. Our guest for this episode is someone I've wanted to talk to about Thor comics for so long, and yeah, his name is in the credits for almost any Thor book you're gonna read over the last, I feel like decade. We can get some clarification on that in a second. But Will Moss is our guest today, and I'm very excited to welcome him for the first time to Across the Bifrost. Will, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Yeah.
So,
Happy to be
Will,
here.
are you okay with being the Storm in our Thor Corps?
Will, you can have whoever you want from my people too. Take Beta Ray Bill, take Thor Odinson, whoever you're feeling, it's all you.
No, I mean honestly, that I was kind of like hoping nobody was gonna pick Storm. She's this probably would have been my pick, even the rest still on the table. She's. I started off reading X-Men comics. I started off as Guardian Wars is one of my favorite X-Men comics when I was a kid. So like in this context, as much as I love Thor and Bill and Loki and Jane, I go with Storm.
Man, that really worked out for all of us. That really worked out well. Well, man, like we said before we even pressed record here, we're very excited to talk to you because we've never interviewed an editor on the show. We've gotten the lettering point of view from Joe. We've gotten an artist point of view from Martin and some other great guests we've had on. Even like the writing, we've had other interviews on like what's your issue, that we got a great interview coming up with Philip Kennedy Johnson, who you've been working with on the Hulk book. We gotten to pick every kind of person's brain that works on a comic except for your role, which is the editor.
Sure.
So maybe for listeners that maybe don't even realize that's part of the process. What does a comic book editor do, and like what is your role in the process of putting together a book?
Sure, yeah. The one simple way of looking at it is we're responsible for getting the book to the printer. Like we're responsible for like putting the book together, like
Yeah.
at every step of the way. Like we hire the writers and we talk to them about the story and the direction, and then we hire the artists, and we work with them on everything from layouts to pencils to inks, and we then like we just kind of facilitate the production of the comic. Like we get the scripts, we get them to the artists and then layouts, we review those, and there's the colorist stage, the lettering stage, and we are just kind of, we're responsible for these books. We're responsible for the voice, the look, getting them to the printer on time, and all that stuff. So it's a weird job. It's because it's something different kind of every day, every hour.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to just kind of sum up, but yeah, we're kind of just the caretakers of these books, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a great description. And like I wanted to quickly follow up with one thing you said there, but like Alex and Faz, like feel free to follow up on anything I'm about to say, because I need to stay on track here. When you say you hire the writers and you hire like the people to be on this book, when this book was, when the previous volume was ending, and we knew like Nick Klein was going to go on, and you're still working with Nick on the Hulk book. Donnie was stepping away from Thor. How did Al Ewing come into the equation? Because I feel like, as a fan of comics over the last few, decade, Al Ewing's name is kind of synonymous with, like, oh, he's a big name. How did Al get attached to Immortal Thor? And then we'll maybe follow up with Martin's role as well. But I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's like any writer artist, like it's never kind of the same circumstances each time. Like but for this in particular one, like Al is somebody that I just think the world of as a writer and as a person. And I've been working with him pretty off and on, more on than off, the whole time I've been at Marvel. When I first started at Marvel, Loki, Agent of Asgard was already a few issues in, and I took over the editing on that book.
Yeah,
so
wow.
I've worked with Al since the beginning. And at some point during the previous volume, like the Donnie and Nick volume, I just was talking with Al, reached out to Al and just said like, hey, I was thinking about the future, like if would you have any interest in doing a run on Thor at some point? And Al pretty much got back right away with the germ of what this volume is.
Wow.
He was enthusiastic, yes, to being interested. And so that just kind of, then when the time came, I talked to my boss, everybody was all in favor of this, and so we went to Al, and that's kind of how it happened.
Wow. I mean, that's awesome. And we're big fans of Martin Piccolo on here. Was it a very similar circumstance with Martin as well?
Yeah, I mean, Martin was like, with artists, it's writers have the bandwidth to write like several books a month. Usually, artists, it's a lot more about like they only do one book a month. So it's a lot more about like availability and timing with artists. So once we had the parameters of what this book was going to be, we started talking about like with with the talent management department at Marvel, and they started talking about like who was going to be kind of available within the window for what this was when this book was going to be coming out. And Martin is phenomenal. So like he worked with him on the Banner of War, the Hulk and Thor crossover we did last year.
Yeah, that was
so
bonkers.
Yeah. And Martin's shown that he's just can draw anything you throw at him, from personal moments to giant crazy fights and otherworldly beings and all that stuff. So once he was on the table, like once they told us that he was available, that was like a slam dunk, like a no-brainer. It was like, let's so we reached out to Martin then, and he was on. So that's kind of how we put the team together.
That's awesome. Like a complete dream team, basically.
Yeah,
People that you'd like, oh, I mean, hopefully they'd be interested, and they're both like, hell yeah, let's do this, and then here we go. Yeah.
right. And Al's the one who said, like, let's have this be Immortal Thor. And so, you know, once he said that he wanted to do that and kind of have this be, you know, kind of like a spiritual companion to Immortal Hulk, it kind of went without saying that we'd go to Alex Ross for the covers for this.
Yeah.
And you know, thankfully Alex was on board with that, because you know, he's got always so much on his plate, but he took these on and kind of completed things. So yeah.
Well, I think with the Banner of War thing, there was a page we were thankful enough to get to tell Martine this, but when he did the giant Iron Man mech suit, I was like, oh,
yeah,
brother doesn't mess around. Okay,
yeah.
And we're like, Baz and I are fortunate enough, like we get to talk to Martin and Martine and give him our reviews of the issues almost as we're reading them, and you know, there's a lot of times like, okay, has everyone read it? Okay, now we get to jump in and give him
Right.
our responses, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Especially because he gives you so much to react to.
Right. Martin is right, just a pleasure. Like his art, him as a person, he's wonderful. Yeah,
He's delightful.
It really
Yeah.
seems it
Yeah.
works really well too with like the way that Al's writing these big concepts, these big ideas. Like, I don't know about you, but if I read a description of Toranos that Alex Ross had said and that Al had in his mind, there's no way I could come up with anything even remotely as cool as what they've put together on
Yeah.
the issues, right? Like, it's just, they all seem to be on a vibe together where they all just get it and it's really connecting well. And you
Right.
know what? That's probably the editor's job, making them all connect, eh, Will? So there you go.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit tricky. There's no way to actually like know that it's going to work out. But so yeah, that's a lot of an editor's job comes out the gut. Sure. And you know, right. If
That's
having a
awesome.
feeling that the team would gel and it works out. So yeah.
So we're talking about adding new members to kind of the roster you've gotten to work with, but like Matt
Yeah.
Wilson is still on this book. Joe Sabino's
Yeah.
still on this work, like and on this book, and yeah, you said like you've worked with Al so often over the last few years. I mean, you've gotten Alex Ross to do covers for, you know, all the Immortal books. It's so like I know that a lot of these names probably come across your desks or your email like a lot, but with Joe and Matt, it just feels like they've been here on this book
Yeah.
together for so long. And like Matt, obviously an Eisner Award winning colorist, he's, you know, he's a brilliant, like he is one, you know, I feel like I have almost like a board of dream guests for Thor. Matt is one of them because he created the vibe of the comics, you know, and added the splashes of, you know, I go back to like some of those Russell Dauterman big full splash pages from War of the Realms, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like Russell is incredible. I don't even think I could think of a bad thing to say about Russell's art. But it's Matt Wilson's colors that make them so vibrant and expressive. But like with working with Matt and Joe, what has your guys' relationship been like being on a lot of the same projects for so long?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice when you do get to have long relationships with the people you work with. You can kind of develop like shorthand and stuff like that. And it's so right. I mean, Joe's been on Thor longer than I have. He's been lettering the book for forever. So
Yeah.
you know, there was no doubt in my mind when we put this new book together that Joe was going to be our guy. Like it was his to turn down. You know, I mean, like Joe's gonna be on Thor forever, and he's brings so much to like the book's character and just continuity too, to having somebody who's speaks the language of all the Krakums and then like has all the and also just the library of files for all the different fonts we use for the frost giants and the, you know, the Asgardians and everything in between, Hela and all that stuff. So and Joe's just a great guy to work with. And Matt too, like Matt started right when Russell came on the book, back when we launched Thor back in like 2014. And I've just been lucky. I've worked with Matt on several things aside from Thor, and I've just been lucky to kind of develop a relationship with him. And also just so he's stayed on Thor Once we brought Nick Klein on, Matt was the voice for that. And then once we made this shift, I just had a conversation with Matt again where I was like, hey, we're going to do a new volume. Martine's going to be the artist. We'd love for you to stay on. And Matt was just all for it. So I think Matt enjoys covering Thor, and I think Matt enjoys the working with the artist that we've had on Thor. So it's almost more just like I'm able to thankfully keep getting him the stuff that he likes so that he'll stay on the book, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at this point they like too the fact that they've been on the book for so long. Like, there's something to being able to say that he used the colors of Thor for nearly 10 years. Like it's a great book. Who wouldn't want that kind of feather?
Right. Well, I think it gives you, I would imagine as an artist, it gives you so much to do and to play around with, because the world of Asgard and the 9 realms, and there's so much vibrancy to it and color just by the nature of what the characters are, how they're dressed. We have a literal rainbow bridge in almost in most of the comics. Like, but I love this team, and it feels almost weird to say this like as a fan, but when you get used to a team, like what Faz said, like there's a vibe that it feels like, and I think we're gonna get into the latest the vibe vehicle that we got just a few days ago. But like, Alex, Faz, is there anything else like maybe about the editorial process that we need to ask Will before we jump into the actual story we're going to talk about?
One thing that I was wondering, Will, you might be able to answer for us is, how do you guys determine kind of when a story comes towards its end and it's time to bring in a new team? Is that like the story is they've told what they want to tell and the writer's like, I planned 90 issues, I'm at issue 88, so it's time for me to close it? Or is it like you guys think like this has been amazing, it's time to freshen it up? Because each Thor we get every 4 or 5 years is wildly different, but all kind of an all-star team. And is that kind of you deciding it's time to freshen up? Is it dependent on the circumstance, or how does it go?
I mean, for most books it kind of depends on the circumstances. For Thor, it really has been like the creative teams kind of decide that they've told their story. Jason obviously had the longest run of all the writers on Thor I've worked with. A lot of Thor writers, period. And so like when he was always building to War of the Realms, and so when we got to that point, that was kind of the natural time to wind down his run. And that's the way it was with Donnie, and that's the way it's going to be with Al. I mean, Al has he pitched a finite story. And so, I mean,
no, it's going to end eventually. Don't say that. Well,
it never ends. No, it never ends.
We took Immortal very literally.
Right.
Keep going and going.
Yeah, I mean, like the market is a weird place. So like you can never say for sure how things are going to go, but like for the most part, we tend to let the creative teams kind of dictate where things end and when it's time to start a new volume and get a new creative team involved for a new volume.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alex, you got anything before we jump into the review?
I don't think so. I just think that it's really interesting to hear, behind the scenes of all these comic books that we love, and like how much work actually goes into this. Like there's just so much that goes into it, from like the specific like lettering of like the text and how the Asgardians talk and how it's different from how you would see like maybe Iron Man or talk when he's in or out of his suit. Just things like that I just find really interesting. But I don't think I have any questions though.
Cool.
Well, then, Will, we're gonna jump into our review of Immortal Thor #5. Maybe you can help me pronounce this correctly. Caveat Emptor is the issue title. Maybe I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
No, I think that was pretty close. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and like most issues, we're gonna get a lot of maybe story elements that we as fans don't understand right now, but because I feel like my internal theme as a reader with Immortal Thor is in Al we trust, and eventually this will all pay off in a way where when we get, because we probably didn't need this confirmation, but Will just confirm this for us. Someday Immortal Thor will end. Someday Al will have told
200
his
issues from
story.
now, though, like way down the road.
Yeah, I didn't say how
He's-
long. Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna make Eric Larson's Savage Dragon look like a joke. But we're gonna get to the end of this, and at that last issue, we're gonna be like, it was in Al's plan the entire time. So I feel like he's a great writer for that, where it's like everything means something, even if we don't understand it at the moment. I feel like he has a lot of credibility as a writer, as a storyteller, whether he's telling a 5-issue miniseries or like Faz keeps alluding to a long, multiple chapter length story. So it's fun to go to the comic book store now as a Thor fan and be like, Al's on our book. Al is on our book, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome in the present, and it's also going to be awesome in the future when all these loose ends kind of tie together. So, but I mean, guys, we got to talk about this another Alex Ross cover. When we learned that Alex Ross was going to be doing the covers, part of me kind of thought like, oh, but eventually I'll get, I don't want to say bored, but eventually I'll be like, oh, another Alex Ross cover. But then the cover comes out and I hold it in my hands and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, that is badass.
Yeah.
Okay, so Will, to ask you another editor question here, like Alex Ross is doing the covers for this. He's obviously he is synonymous with his own style. So like
Yeah.
when you have someone that's so iconic in their style, like who gives like Alex kind of the guidelines, I guess, or is Alex deciding what to draw from the inside of the issue? How does a cover get determined for a run like Immortal Thor?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, right. Again, like there's all different kinds of ways on different books, but for Immortal Thor specifically, um, Al, this is how it worked on Immortal Hulk too. Al comes up with concepts for Alex, and so it's Alex bases off all his covers based off ideas that Al provided him, and I think Alex likes that. Like he likes having the kind of specificity of what Al gives him, but of course Alex always has leeway to do his own thing, and whenever he does, usually that's always for the better because the guy's a master. So yeah, I think like it's Alex's covers. Alex can he can draw anything, but I think it's
Right.
something about being able to collaborate with Al on the cover concepts that's resulted in some of these terrific ones for Thor and terrific ones for Hulk, and it's yeah.
Well, I know he's doing the awesome Fantastic Four covers for Ryan North's
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, which that
Mhm.
comic, like listeners, fellow co-hosts who are not reading FF right now, it is a bonkers fun story. And it's got Ben Grimm in it, so I'll always read it. But like then he's doing Doctor Strange covers. It just feels like um we, we're blessed with a guy who definitely knows like who he is as an artist and what he brings to a book. And man, like these
Yeah.
covers just they're so captivating. I mean, I'm sitting right in front of an Immortal Thor #1 poster. And it's what
Mhm.
I sit at my desk and it's what I look at every time now. So I'm glad Alex Ross is doing these covers. But
Yeah. And
Faz, yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was like, yeah, and Alex was like, he's been so key to the not just the covers for this book, but like when we went to him, he was interested in playing around with Thor's look, and then he's also designed like Toranos
Right.
and Utgard Loki. Like, so he's been more than just a cover artist for this. He's been a real creative voice on this, and so so yeah, Alex is just a brilliant man and has a very talented cover artist, and we're happy to have him.
The speaking of the design for this vibe of Thor, we were able to talk to Martin a little bit about that, and we're like, oh yeah, where did the design come? He's like, oh, that's an Alex Ross thing. And then
Hmm.
one of us, and I will rat him out here, one of us created the Thor design that Alex Ross did as a cosplay. So Faz, you have worn this suit. You have created
Yeah.
this out of, and Martin helped you like put it
Yeah.
together. Like
Oh
yeah, so
wow.
like yeah, it's pretty great, Will. It's pretty great.
It was a lot of fun, Will, because I
Yeah.
basically cornered Martin and was like, "Hey, man, like we get that it's shiny, we get that it's spandex. Is it like spandex? Is it like leather? Is it like blue light? Is it like white light?" Like he and I had
Nice.
this whole conversation. Ryan's just sitting there like, "What
I
the
was
hell's
there for
going
that
on?"
group chat. I didn't
Yeah.
understand a
Yeah,
word
yeah.
of it.
And we go through the whole thing and we realize that like the base suit I buy is essentially it's called like we had to Google things like men's skin tight leather lingerie in order to find the proper costume.
Sure.
So
Sure.
Martin and I
Yeah.
are like, oh my God, if you were to look at our like search histories
Exactly.
right
Sure. Sure.
now,
Yeah.
Think of a
Yeah.
cosplayer.
what are we talking
That's what it
about?
is.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool and it was little things like just how he envisioned it being, how it's not like overly muscled, but Thor himself is muscly. Obviously, you can see me on this video. I am no Thor Odinson in terms of the musculature, but just the way it's been drawn by Alex and Martin has been so impressive that I felt like I've always liked the classic look, but I was never going to actually try to attempt it, and I had to after
Yeah.
only 4 issues. I think it's like 2 issues in, right, Ryan?
Oh yeah. You decided early you were gonna do
Yeah.
this. And previously, like you did the Hemsworth like MCU looks. This is your
Yeah.
first like very, very specifically comic book suit.
Well, I did do the Jason Aaron Thor this year, so that was my big
Right, you did
comic
you did
costume
the
of the suit, right?
Viking Thor. That was
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
good. Yeah.
But this
Oh,
So
okay.
one's like as close as it could be. I couldn't get a hold of Assad Ribic to ask him how he would like it to
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
now
created.
wouldn't that have been a fun conversation?
A lot more swearing with
So
that one, yeah.
as we jump into the actual issue, Alex, you want to kind of like, okay, there's a prologue here, and Alex is Alex is very literarily minded, so I asked her if she would give us the synopsis for this like primordial epic
Yeah.
that Al writes in the beginning here, because Alex is going to interpret it a lot better than I would. So Alex, what is happening in the first few pages here, and then I'll take over when we jump into the like battle part.
All right, so you're lucky that I have over a decade worth of Latin training, and I'm an English
Whoa,
major.
whoa, okay. Weird flex, but we'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've taken over a decade of Latin, and I'm an English major currently getting a master's. So I know a thing or two about this, but essentially, and I'm
Okay.
not a medievalist. So if any medievalist watches this and listens and needs to correct me, I'm sorry. I'm not a medievalist. I've only been taught by medievalists. Um, but this, what we've seen before is that Al was using the Eddas, which I really,
Yeah.
really love. He was using the Eddas, and now we're getting into something else. And this essentially is talking about the Wheel of Fortune spinning. And it's the Wheel of Fortune spins. One man is abased by its descent, the other is carried aloft. All too exalted sits the king at the top. Let him beware ruin.
Woo!
um, so that's essentially what it is talking about, because the Wheel of Fortune, or Fortuna in medieval texts, is a huge thing, which is what when we flip to like the first page, we see the Wheel of Fortune in the middle of this planet, essentially, what we're looking at here. But let's see, where is it? So it just talks about, it kind of sets the stage for what we've been like looking at and what we've been reading, is that it always talks about how the wheel turns, the wheel turns, the wheel turns, which is something in like medievalist literatures that tends to occur a lot, just to talk about, you know, fortune and how fortune can go you can go from having good luck to bad luck in just the turn of a wheel. So then we get, so I'm gonna get into the thing about demiurge, I believe it is.
Yeah,
demiurge, which
Demiurge,
yeah. Which is, I guess, Thor's grandfather.
Will, can you clarify that? Where what is this demiurge character?
Yeah, I mean the demiurge, there's like all like, I mean this is more just kind of like from, you know, literal myths. Like there's a demiurge in the Marvel continuity that involves like Wiccan from the Young Avengers and all that stuff, but this is more like the that's not really connected to that. This is like the primal demiurge. This is kind of what created everything. Like before there was anything, the demiurge created the beings that would become the gods that created everything. You know, like the demiurge is the original force. It's more than Thor's grandfather. It's everybody's grandfather.
So like, I feel like this is maybe a question listeners might have. In Marvel continuity, there's so many beings of higher power. So like layering them feels like it's like, oh, this is like the big, you know, god character, but like, oh, but then that big god character is actually slightly bigger than that god character. So like, is this basically is this like Al's shorthand of saying like this is a very powerful primal force that we're gonna include in our story? Is it just kind of shorthand for that?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, right, you kind of have to, right, there are so many giant omnipresent beings that are, you know, responsible for creation, all that stuff, like across the history of the Marvel universe. Like you just kind of need to at some point just focus on like what best fits the story you're telling, and just kind of like, you know, put your blinders on, be like, this is, as far as this story goes, this is what is responsible for everything.
Okay.
It's not important to like be like, it's this specific entity that we talked about in the 70s in this book. It's just for our story. This is the guy, these are the elder gods. They may or may not turn into other things we've seen before, but that's not important. What's important is that within the mythology of our story, this is how they look.
Or how that fits in with all the other versions of, you know, ancient gods, or, you know, like if you that you can just lose, you know, you can lose everything trying to.
Oh my gosh.
Think that.
It's just gonna keep going. It's like the wheel spin.
The wheel turn.
Oh, bingo.
But yeah, we see the demiurge create the elder gods essentially, and what I find interesting is that we specifically focus on deep magic, fortune, and then life, which is Gaia, which we get, who is Thor's mother. And we see this whole kind of elder god war occur. I don't want to say that the snake is Jormungandr, because it's probably
but I want to say it because I need the Midgard serpent back in my Thor comics.
We see this sort of very epic elder god battle, which is reminiscent of the Eddas when Odin had destroyed, you know, Ymir and everything like that. And then we have Gaia, who essentially created the cycle that we're now seeing in a way. And Ouroboros, if you will.
Oh boy. So I'm gonna just the battle is epic in here, and there's so many different panels that I would love to spend some time with. But we'll just I'll wrap up the battle synopsis, and then guys, we can maybe pick Will's brain a little bit or talk about like some favorite aspects of this. Last issue we left off with, you know, that big epic, you know, last page of the Thor Corps assembling. I remember the slightly profane but excited message that I sent to Martin, and it was appropriate because I and like we already had seen the cover of number 5. We already kind of knew this was coming, when you get to that last page, we talk about it so often, Will, like that last page reveal is such like it's like catnip to to comic book fans, where it's like, oh well, I was already gonna pick up next month's issue, but now I'm like extra gonna pick it up next month. And
Right.
that panel is just absolutely, it took my breath away. And but then like that little epilogue, and we're gonna pick up on that little epilogue later, because you know Alex knows, Faz knows, like I did not know what to do with the Minotaur at the end. I was so I was out of my seat about it. But so that's where we're picking up from last time. We're back in the present time. We've gotten our prologue out of the way, and the battle with Toranos continues. So they're throwing the hammer back and forth because we've reinstalled the 60 seconds clause of Mjolnir, where we have to touch it, we have to get, that power surging, through us to get that Thor related power set. So they're throwing it around. There's quips, back and forth, and then we see the hammer get thrown at Toranos, which is, big mistake, because he
Right.
grabs it, and then everybody starts to transform back into their previous, their regular form. Well,
Right.
then Martin decided to blow my freaking mind with Thor armored Tyrannos with the shield, with the giant hammer. I mean, he looks like a celestial standing above them
Right.
on the moon, and he is like a giant kaiju Thor. It
Right.
is incredible. It's
Yeah.
and because like of several times we've seen Martin's art, where it's like we know that he can scale up really easily. Like I go back to in Banner of War, he blows up a planet. And there's not even any characters on that page. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing this man cannot draw. And
Yes.
th then Thor kind of plays his trick on Tyrannos that relates to what is the real power of Thor. And it's actually the power to hold back the storm, to be humble, to have empathy. It's all of the quote unquote softer qualities of being the god of thunder. And then the power slowly just shrivels Tyrannos up, and that is the kind of the end of our battle, our conflict. But will, like, the main action sequence of our issue, I mean, any takeaways from like this part of the story? I don't know. You see, it probably feels like dozens of comics, just at all times. Was there anything in this middle part that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, obviously, seeing the Thor Corps come back and Al coming up with, a new way for that to happen, where, now that Thor's the All Father, he can control, how the enchantment works. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun seeing the team get back together. But I mean, kind of the same thing you mentioned is Toranos, like that idea that Toranos kind of gets like for him, it's like Toranos gets like tainted, like he
Right.
to hold the hammer to do the thing that he wants, he has to become worthy of it, and that means like Thor's a hero. So like that makes Toranos. I thought that was just a brilliant way to kind of not defeat Toranos, because we haven't seen the last of them, but like it's a good way to beat Toranos at this stage. I thought it was a really clever idea of Al's.
It's an extremely creative solution, right? Like they establish in the first book that his lightning doesn't even touch him. So like, what are you going to do? You can, like, 5 guys with the same amount of lightning still not going to touch him. So you have to figure out a better way to do it. And it's nice to see, like, don't get me wrong, I love when Thor wins by hitting someone really, really, really hard with a hammer.
Right.
But you can't win against every villain that way, or it's just going to get boring over the 200 issues of Immortal Thor that were being promised by Al, right? So,
right.
Seeing that, and just the genius of like teasing him, like, oh, Mjolnir's amazing, you should really try it, it's so fun, we all love having it, and Tornos is like, I want that, and he's trying to grab it, keep it just out of his reach, and of course it's Loki who throws it right to Toranos.
Right.
That like everybody thinks, oh no, he's ruined it, and it's like the perfect plan, just really the creative solution, that all-father brain that we're seeing 5 issues in. I think 3 out of the 5 issues he's solved just by thinking. Instead of by hitting things. That's pretty cool to see.
Right, for sure. Right.
And like so quickly, Tyrannos gets the hammer. Thor continues to taunt him. And I love the line where he says, "If I may grant that power, I see no rule against it," a reference to what Will said, like he's all father now. He makes the
Mhm.
rules now. I love that, like subtle, like, yeah, man, like I'm on a different level. Like this is I'm not the Thor that I used to be. I'm on a different level now. Says, then
Mhm.
you, Toranos, deserve it more than any, for yours is the greatest need, like that holding back of the storm. And then Toranos's tone completely changes. He's like, no, 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 take this horror back from me. As he's shrinking and withering away, like Faz said, this is such a creative way to solve a problem outside of just hitting him harder. And I think
Mhm.
that, like, I kind of expect that from my Al Ewing comics. Like, I expect it to be like, we're gonna get some of that, like, vibe that we know and we love, but then there's going to be like something is going to be tweaked, like something is going to be there's going to be a shift. And I loved that as Toranos is fading away, the last thing he screams out is uh but 'tis only I did only what I was bid to do, what I was loosed upon the earth to do, at the command of my brother, the magic maker, the Utgard Loki, which again we know from issue one. If you're
Mhm.
unfamiliar with, if you don't remember issue one, go read the back half of that and the last few pages of it, and it kind of plants the seeds. But then Tirana says, "And she who first sealed me away, thy mother Gaia." And Thor's eyes get big. He's like, well, okay, maybe didn't expect that. Um, and
Mhm.
from that point on, we kind of see the parting of ways with all these people that the All Father power has brought together. Now, Thor kind of he sends Aurora off, and they have a really cool moment where he's like, "Hey, if you ever need me, I know I took you away from something important, but if you ever need me, I'm here." And she says, like, "Hey, just like essentially, if you have the opportunity to kick Orcris ass, go ahead and do that. That would be a thing that would be worth your time." Beta Ray Bill has
Mhm.
a great moment
Wait,
with
wait, wait.
Thor.
Before you end the storm part, she also
Yeah,
takes his
go
cape,
ahead.
which is important.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I love that.
It's like I do miss wearing a
And,
cape. So good.
Yeah.
and Al writing X-Men Red, that shows up in X-Men Red.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
really? That's cool.
now I've got to go read
Yeah,
X-Men Red now.
yeah, yeah,
Man,
He
so
shows back
good.
up with the cape. I love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
So do we so the because she says here, like, hey, if you could give me like a big entrance, that'd be great. Does that entrance show up in, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Al is accounts for all things, and if you can borrow Storm from X Men Red, he was going to make sure that fit, and that he
The way
Not
wouldn't
Bill
a
just
connects the stuff is just insane. Like, to be able to pull that
yeah.
off. Yeah.
not a single detail gone unappreciated. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
with the goodbye to Beta Ray Bill, like it speaks to so much of where Beta is as a character right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of, like, a few things that he's going to reference here are from Daniel Warren Johnson's Argent Star. Like, he references the
Mm-hmm.
Twilight Sword. He references him and
Mm-hmm.
Thor not being on the same page, but like
Mm-hmm.
now there's actually hope because they've worked together again. And that's what, I'll be honest, like, well, a lot of times Marvel continuity confuses the hell out of me because I can't keep track of
Mm-hmm.
every little thing. But like, as a
Sure.
fan of this corner of the Marvel universe, I loved the
Mm-hmm.
references here. And like Daniel Warren Johnson's Argent Star is incredible. Like that story
Mm-hmm.
is so bonkers cool. And because Daniel Warren Johnson is awesome, like it's not a shock. But like this reference
Yeah.
here where Beta says at the end, um, perhaps next time you will do me the honor of carrying the Twilight Sword into battle. And Thor says, thy honor would be mine, my friend. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that little moment at the end. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, any thoughts on Beta being, because he's kind of playing second fiddle to everybody else right now, but his story gets kind of told in little chunks in different places when
Sure.
he shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Bill obviously right, but a phenomenal character. Walter Simonson's genius putting this character in play and
Yeah.
such like a fun way to a fun character to bounce off Thor. You know, this other guy that's just as worthy as him. Right? Thor was shocked to see he could lift up the hammer and all that stuff. And it's fun, right, to see how Bill's becoming an Asgardian, but he's like earned his place among the Asgardians, but he's still separate. He's still different. He still feels like an outsider no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think Al's touches on that kind of like melancholy that you know, Daniel Warren Johnson obviously made a meal out of in that miniseries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a genuine like friendship or relationship. How deep Bill and Thor's like exchanges are. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, big fan of Bill, and right, Al is too. And that's not the last. Obviously, it's not the last we'll see of Bill in this story.
Well,
Love all the teases. These are so so much
chalk
excitement to me.
one more on the tease meter.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen the last of Toranos, and we haven't seen the last of Bill. I'm happy. We're
Yeah.
eating good right now as Thor fans. But now, like, we're gonna big juicy tidbit at the end. So Jane is about to leave, and like I'm a big fan of whenever Jane shows up in anything, because that usually means Mr. Horse is gonna show up too. And I love how I love how Al writes Mr. Horse. I've loved how Torrin Grunbeck has done Mr. Horse in the past. Like, just a great little side character. I like, if Thori the Hellhound was in this, I would have, like, my mind would have been blown. Like, it would have been the
Yeah,
first thing that Faz and I would have talked about. But
Right.
Jane gives a bit of a hint to Thor from another Al Ewing vehicle, the Avengers Incorporated book, which I'm not as up to date on, but now I need to go back and fill in the gaps here, because
Yeah, it'll be added to my pull list for sure.
Jane says that a soul has been released from Valhalla, and then we turn the page. And you know what, Alex? I feel like you've earned the right to take it from here.
Well,
So go for it.
if you insist, I'm not.
Don't pull my arm. Oh, darn it! I have to talk about this. Great.
So after Jane departs with a very ominous warning that has me very worried about the future of what may occur.
Oh, right, because we see the death bubble, but it's not death.
Yes.
It's
Bubble of death.
pain.
It's a danger bubble.
Danger.
Everybody has
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
has one, right? It's just how big it is.
Yeah.
Is the thing. Yeah, it's how imminent your death is. The bigger it is, the more imminent your death is. Yeah.
Whew.
Worried. Okay, but then we get back to Roxxon, everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite
Corrupted
multi-international
corporate.
conglomerate.
Yeah. To see that the Executioner's back, which was hinted at in Avengers Inc., that he was brought back from Valhalla, and we see this interaction between Scourge and the Roxxon Bull, which is a little, he's had better days, let's just say it. He's had better days.
The best Dario's ever looked. What do you mean? He's so healthy right now.
Best Dario's ever
Oh yeah,
looked.
I can tell by the skin peeling off of his
He somehow looks less scummy this way.
Yeah, you know. But we get this interaction with Scourge and him talking about recent events and how we learned that he's acquired the rights to every Marvel entity under the corporate banner somehow. And this feels like it's like supposed to be set in our universe, just based off that knowledge that he's running all of this. And so they want to stop Thor from saving this world from disaster. And Scourge is doing all the talking until they turn to who's actually behind it all, Amora the Enchantress, who greets him with a little clever enchanté. So,
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, so happy.
So,
I knew she was, but you know.
So, Alex, being maybe the biggest Amora fan there's ever been, what, like, you turn that page, like, tell me, what was your reaction to seeing this character actually show up? Because we know you love her so much. You've cosplayed her on several occasions. Like, it's a big deal for you as a fan of this character. What was your reaction to that? Did you just like throw the comic across the room and like, you know, start like happy dancing? What was that like?
It was more of a like, you know, a scream of happiness because I knew that just based off of what Al was doing with um this comic run that it would be unlikely we wouldn't see her eventually because just based off of like the interviews he gave with how he prepared for the run and everything, it was kind of synonymous that it's like she'll eventually show up in some way. We weren't sure how or why. I definitely didn't expect her to be in league with Roxxon, but knowing my girl the way I do, there's gotta be probably some ulterior motive here. She's not just doing this out of, you know, the goodness in
The
her heart.
goodness of her
She's
heart.
got something. Goodness of her
Oh
heart.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is charity work. He's doing charity work. Do you think she wants to touch that nasty looking dead
Undead
animal?
Minotaur paw.
Right.
So
She doesn't want to touch that. Like,
no.
but
Well, like putting this, you know, like we were talking about that last page reveal, that bit, like that exciting epilogue. Like, I know that these are like we're planting the seeds for either the next story or the long term. Like, I totally get that, and like we will not ask or speculate too much, you know, on this conversation about that. We'll leave our speculation to our own private discussions. But like when you have this like this a very familiar character to a longtime Thor fan show up, like um when we see these familiar things, and you've been around for so long, you've had Amora in your stories, like bringing these familiar characters back, what for an editor, what does that kind of signal for you, like from fans? I'm just kind of curious, seeing these characters come back in Al's imagination, what that speaks to you like as an editor.
Sure, yeah. I mean, right. Thor's got just a terrific rogues gallery, and they've all got a million stories under their belt. So sure, anytime
Right.
you bring them back, you got to make sure there's a fresh angle or a fresh reason or purpose behind them having a role in the story. But you know, I'm working with writers like Jason and Al and Donnie. They've always got great creative ideas for approaching these characters, like enchanters who've been around since, you know, as long as Thor has the Marvel universe, basically. And it's exciting too because like it's well, now we see enchanters, but like, oh, what's Al's take on enchantress going to be? You know, and typically somebody that I feel has got like she's just such a great talent. She's such a great character, and I think that she just like as long as she's been around, even though she's been around so long, there's still so much more I think we could do with her. And so and Al feels the same way. So like it's
You're gonna make
exciting to.
Alex cry, Will. I think you've got her very
no. Listen, it's fine. It's fine.
I have to leave the room
Yeah.
for a complete unrelated reason.
You just hear a scream off camera somewhere.
So like as we get to kind of like the end of this this first, you know, arc, I guess, like we've dealt with Toranos for now. The Thor
Yeah.
Corps has assembled and then, you know, gone off to do their own thing. What has been like, well, what has been your favorite part working on, you know, this book, seeing fans' reactions to it? Kind of the
Mm-hmm.
it felt like Marvel kind of rolled out the red carpet for this one, you know, like I have a long box
Yeah.
with Alex Ross's cover on it. I have a poster. I have a, you know, it feels like I went and got the
Yeah.
whole Immortal Thor starter pack. You know,
Yeah.
what has it been like seeing this new revamped version of Thor and just fans' reactions to it so far?
Yeah, I mean, right. It's been a lot of fun seeing people's response to this book because I mean, at the end of the day, like we're just making these comics to entertain people, to like to make sure that they, you know, like we want people to be enjoying these books. Obviously, that's the primary goal.
Right.
And so it's great to know that it's connecting with people and that, you know, is we can love Al's ideas, love Martine's pages to the moon and back, but if they don't actually like connect with the readers, then it's, you know, it's just some it doesn't work. Like this is
Yeah.
it's an exchange between the Marvel and the readers. So it's satisfying, definitely, to get all this positive response back from people who are super into the book in general, who like where Al's going with Loki, who get super excited about the Thor Corps, and the people who want to just be wowed by all the Toranos and Utgard Loki stuff as the story just starts to unroll.
Yeah. So guys, we're gonna bring our review to kind of a closure, but like Faz, Alex, my fantastic, passionate co-host, we'll put it that way. Where do you guys have any like last thing? Like we got to talk about this before we're done with this issue, and then we'll kind of tie a bow on our discussion. Alex, any final thoughts on Immortal Thor #5?
I just feel like, of course, I'm a huge fan of Al Ewing's Loki, Agent of Asgard. I mean, I've written essays on it. I've analyzed it to, Helheim and back. But this feels like another this feels like another, Agent of Asgard with Al Ewing in tow, because Agent of Asgard was so monumental for Loki's character. There was so much that shifted with Loki in regards to that run, and how important it is and how much it holds up, and like rereading it, you just find more and more to love about it.
Yeah.
And so this Immortal Thor run, I can't help but notice that it seems to be going down the same path, that we're going to get this is ushering in like this new era of Thor, and you see all these classic Thor things. And I know a bunch of my like Thor fanatic friends have just absolutely been loving it, and even friends that I have that are like, I'm not interested in reading Thor comics, they picked it up and they're like, okay, now I need to know. Like they're like, okay, give me a reading list, and I'm like, okay. But
It's like,
yeah,
I know you don't read Thor comics, but you will read this one.
Yeah, like I've been telling people, I'm like, if you need an introduction to Thor, just this can be your introduction to Thor, and it's possibly one of the best introductions you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely amazing. And of course, this 5th issue is, of course, my top spot in terms of if I had to rank. No reason at all.
Yeah, no reason at all.
Of course, I have to wait a month. To see if I can
Alex,
see her
just
again.
put it this way: if Ulick shows up, I'll have that response that you had. I will like the roof will come off. And I mean, whew, Al Ewing, if you are listening to this, please, dear God, put Ulick in this book.
My God. I just love all of his work. Yeah. And I mean,
if you're a Ulick fan, I'll say he shows up in Spider-Boy #3, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh.
We go straight to the next. Yeah, but with like issue 5.
Spider, like, is that Dan Slott?
Yeah,
Dan Slott. Okay. I will.
Yeah.
That is the next thing I will do right after this.
But like, just wrapping up what I was gonna say real quick is that with Amora, I mean, she's got history with Loki, she's got history with Thor, she's got history with all of Asgard. And so this opens a lot of doors that I'm hoping to be opened.
Baz, you got any like final thoughts on Immortal Thor #5?
And everything I want to talk about is pure speculation, and I'm worried that I'm going to put Will in a rough spot. So all I'm going to say is just this has been an awesome first 5. I can't wait to see where they go from here. This has been the perfect start. I am very excited. And that's pretty much all I can say.
Yes, it's all you will allow yourself to say. I think like just my final thoughts on this one is similar to what Faz said, and what Alex definitely alluded to, is like these first 5 have felt very, I don't know, just very refreshing, very warm, very cozy. And I know we've been dealing with, and I get like that might sound different than what these issues are actually like the story is, because we're still talking about giant space deities, battling over who controls lightning, and it's like, Ryan, that's cozy to you? I'm like, no. The vibe is cozy to me. The looking forward to this book, and I don't know, just like sitting on my couch and having my kids read over my shoulder and be like, what's Thor doing now? And I'm like, well, you see, there's a giant elder space god, and they're like, already disinterested, but I stay locked in. But like my kids, my kids know that I look forward to this book, and there's very few comics that they will come up to me like, so, there's 6 and 7, so they'll be like, so Dad, what happened to Thor this month? And I'll be like, well, you see, guys, all of his buddies showed up and they kicked this bully's butt, and it was fantastic. But it's just like it just makes me feel good. And I think that was one thing that and I'm probably not gonna get this right verbatim, but like Al in an interview that I read of him was like, it's like that feeling of hopefulness, that feeling of vibrance, that feeling of, yes, I am facing these big monumental stakes, but I'm not a sad sack about it. Like I'm a king,
Mhm.
I'm a hero, and like these comics feel heroic, and I love that. Like
Mhm.
I don't need dark edgelord Thor. Like I don't need that. At certain times it's great, but like I'm really refreshed by this run of Thor. I'm really refreshed with seeing a lot of familiar faces. But knowing that this is a brand new story, like it's familiar, but it's fresh, and I love that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that I mean that's our review of Immortal Thor number 5, featuring the editor himself, the man that puts the pieces of the puzzle together and helps us enjoy a great comic. Will, man, thank you so much for your time. Is
Yeah.
there, if fans, if listeners want to like reach out to you or I don't know, interact with you on social, like how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. That's the best place to reach me, I guess, like in terms of social media and stuff. I'm like
Okay.
Will_Moss on Twitter. And you know, like in terms of like getting in touch with us, like for our letters page and stuff, that's always great. We've got the, you know, if the be wordy letters page, people can write us at mheroes at marvel.com. We everybody in editorial gets those letters. It's always a lot of fun, kind of just like, you know, getting those, you know, direct missives from people. So
Yeah.
that way works too.
Faz, we need to do that. We've been talking about Joe literally
We've literally
bullied
been
us
talking
into
about it
doing
for
it. We
like,
never did
yeah.
it.
We
Yeah.
almost did it like 8 times on the Kate's run, and then now we're 5 into to
We
the
missed the
Ewing
boat.
run. We still haven't done it yet.
And
Alex,
Al's
have you ever
answering the
written
letters
in?
himself.
He's answering them. I've seen them. Yeah.
I haven't written in, but I'm tempted to now. I just need to, once I get my
Okay.
cosplay stuff back, I need to shoot a cosplay photo, which
Okay.
is
Yeah.
self-explanatory about what it'll be. So here's to hoping about that.
We'll get an undead minotaur hand that you can shake.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where you find the Minotaur. If you're gonna use a bull or just create a whole Minotaur from scratch.
Right.
I'm just gonna dig up a minotaur.
Yeah,
I'll be back.
Right. I mean, that'll be
Take a
easy.
trip to Greece. It's fine.
I mean, guys, I feel like we got to do it now. We've got to write in. I mean, we've been reading this book for so long. Why have we not done it yet? And like, I love reading the letters page as well. It's so refreshing to be
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, there's other people that are obsessed with this book, and
Mhm.
that are loving what this is giving so far. So, well, and if anyone wants to check out other books you're on right now, like what are some other books people can check out that you're working on?
Sure. Yeah. I also edited Black Panther and The Incredible Hulk, and yeah, the new line of Ultimate Comics that we're starting to launch in 2024, like Ultimate Spider-Man in January, and Ultimate Black Panther in February, and Ultimate X-Men in March. There's a
Wow,
slew of really good books. So yeah, the
fantastic.
next
I
one
mean,
is probably first.
go check out Black Panther, go check out Hulk, keep checking out Thor. And any Will Moss vehicle you should go check out. And man, just thank you so much, man. This has been
Guys, yeah, this was
definitely a
great. A
thing.
lot of fun.
I've crossed off the bucket list something today, so I really appreciate the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, good.
Everybody,
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks
if
so
you want to
much.
check out what we're doing, you can check us out on Instagram at ManyPathsOfficial. We have got episodes of Across the Bifrost. We just launched our Superpower Happy Hour, which Faz has been on. Faz has an episode coming up. After the next episode, after you'll listen to this, we're going to be talking about the first appearance of Spider-Man, and that is going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, you're going to enjoy that listen. And also we have a brand new kind of series jumping off next week as well. It's called What's Your Issue, where we ask our favorite creators what their favorite comic is, and we read it with them. And our first guest is Philip Kennedy Johnson, and he was an absolute rock star to talk to. And we talked about an issue of Superman because Philip's doing a bunch of stuff across all, it feels like all companies of comics. Yeah, so go check those things out. We cannot wait to see you the next time we jump aboard the Rainbow Bridge and we talk about the mighty Thor. Man, everybody have a great rest of your day. Stay worthy.